Hello. Welcome to the TowerCast podcast, the towering podcast for the towering filmmakers out here. I am your host, Juan Paul Flores, and I am here joined, of course, with a lot of legends in this room. I already can tell it's going to be one of the greatest episodes thus far because we're only on the second one. This is episode 2, hitting you up, the Tower Production HQ right here. I am joined with my host right here as well. Go ahead, man. Introduce yourself to the world. Nobody here knows you yet, but they're about to. Go ahead, man. Throw it.
How you guys doing? My name is John Eric Castro. I'm an aspiring actor and a professional FPV pilot. How you guys doing?
I didn't know that pilot part. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Eric Sanchez, and I was director of photography for Flowers for the Lady.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the one and only the star of the film, the cowboy, the John Wayne of this picture, James Travis Kerr. He was in many pictures such as this one we're talking about tonight, Flowers for the Young Lady right here, and also for the Hard Outright, which is all on Amazon. So if you want to check this guy out and see his works, definitely give those movies a watch. How you doing, man? How's it been?
Well, I woke up alive, so I can't complain.
That's amazing. Neither can I, honestly. Neither can I.
Beats the alternative.
Honestly, what you guys been up to? How's your guys' weekend? I've never done a podcast with any of y'all, so this is like I'm just gonna jump in and get to know y'all. This whole section right here of the podcast. So,
well, Jim, what did you do for Halloween, man? Did you dress up?
I hid mostly,
Nice.
Yeah, everybody does that.
Yeah, ate a lot of candy. Went into a diabetic coma.
Did you give out candy?
Huh?
Did you give out candy?
Uh,
Or just stay hidden?
I just ate it.
Okay.
Nice.
I just ate it. Yeah. No, we live in a rather secluded neighborhood, out of town, so we don't get that much. It's I don't know, mostly a retirement community, I guess.
So which
Not that I'm old or anything. I don't want you to get the wrong idea.
wise.
Got you for a high school film, man.
No, but that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm new to Tower, as you guys might know. I've only been with them for I think I just about a year, I guess now. But I've gotten to know Eric a bit, and I've gotten to know John a bit. John was a star. He's honestly like one of our main stars at Tower. He's in films as You Know What's Funny. Carlos de la Torre directed that. At a Loss, The Look, and many more. So if you're interested in seeing John Eric's work, definitely check him out on YouTube at the Tower Podcast page.
Yeah, and also in Facebook and Tower Productions too.
Hit us up. We're always trying to plug in and move on and grow. But today we're going to talk about the second film on the Tower 20, which was Flowers for the Young Lady. This was a Western. I actually had no idea what I was getting into when I first watched it. I'm not going to lie. Mainly because I'm a big fan of Westerns. So, I mean, being in El Paso, I'm surprised that there's not, a ton of people trying to make Westerns. But, I mean, I guess Tower Productions made one. And I got to say,
True.
not because, you guys are giving me free clothing to wear or anything like that. But I will say I actually did enjoy this Western because you guys did something a little different. It wasn't just like, hey, Western, it's going to be about a guy looking for an outlaw or, guy on the run. You guys had some mythical elements in there, which
Absolutely.
I think really, is kind of lacking in Westerns nowadays. I mean, it's an interesting take on the genre. And yeah, I think you guys did a really good job with that. So without further ado, I mean, I have so many questions. First of all, I want to know what you guys all individually did for the film, and what was it like before the post production, the actual making of the film. I would like to be taken into what the inception was about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, Flowers for the Young Lady. Man, that dates way back when we first started Tower Productions. As it was our second film to get on our hands before we did the feature. I'm not entirely sure. Was it the feature first?
No, it was after.
The feature was after.
Sun City Lights or which one?
No. Depth of Field.
Depth of Field.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was one of the first.
It was after, yeah.
Yeah, this was after the feature. Yes. But so this was our still one of our first works. We met Adam. I remember we met Adam. The director. He brought this very small treatment for class.
Adam Lopez, right?
Adam Lopez, yes. He was a director, good writer. I mean, I thought it was a good, very solid script. The first script, I was like, it's pretty cool. It's got some supernatural horror.
It's like a take on the Llorona.
Yeah, the take on the
twist to
Llorona,
it.
like the story about the husband, and his journey trying to get her soul to rest in peace. Yeah. And and unfortunately, it was all it was tough. I couldn't make it to the first shoot. We shot Adam and Eric
Yeah, I was actually the lead for the first
For the-
try.
for the first like tryout of the movie, and it came out good. Like he edited it.
So what?
It
From
was
what
a
I
nice
was
little
told,
visual.
you guys shot an entire version of the film and then reshot it.
It was like a little short
Yes.
film, like a 10-minute short
Okay,
film.
like
yeah.
almost like a test and stuff.
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
it was like a test film. Like, and
Like a
Eric
little
was
visual.
lead, and I think they recasted one of the actors who came out with Eric, for the new version, and it was very good. It was a lot. It was an experience.
Yeah,
I
we had,
learned
like,
a lot
three different
on the
Yodonas.
spot. We all learned a bunch of stuff on the spot.
You were the DP, so you were in charge
Yes.
of how it looked and everything, right?
Yes, and at first I was like, oh, damn, like, this is gonna be tough to pull it off, make it look like the 1800s,
Right.
you know?
Talk about how it started, man.
Yeah, because
Just getting over there.
I think I'm guessing like amongst the people like sitting down here, like you're the one who was like most involved in the pre-production stuff.
Yeah.
Like so when you got like did Adam Lopez, because like the way we work at Tower is we usually like let the director sort of like pick and choose who he wants to work with and stuff. So like working with the director Adam, since he's not here, like what did you kind of like do to prep for this Western? Because I mean, honestly, like, did you watch any Western?
Because
films
this is your
before?
genre,
Yeah,
man.
like, this is
You
your
were paranormal.
Yeah.
You like that stuff.
Yeah, you're into horror, so I assume like you were gravitating
No,
towards
I
this
knew
story.
like the good stuff. Like I've seen a bunch of westerns before, and I already kind of knew what he was getting into, and Django was still kind of relatively new at the time,
Okay.
and that helped out a lot because like he wanted to pull off like that style, like very stylish.
It
Western,
was a
you know?
very stylish Western, and
then
yes.
Jim, of course, he
Jim
helped
with
out
the
a lot.
presence. We all know
Jim
Jim
the
had
lead
the
role.
presence.
We gotta-
He already had the presents and everything.
I'll say there's a shot where he like
Look at him, ladies and
like he
gentlemen.
just steps on the ground and you just see him enter like the place he ends up meeting your character at.
Yeah.
Like and I remember just being like, okay,
provide alcohol for him.
That was the very like iconic moment, honestly. So it was very nicely shot. Of course,
Yeah,
that
like he's the one that made it Western.
yeah, honestly,
it was
man,
it was
no,
aw- it was
yeah,
awesome,
you
very
got the
good.
perfect look for it, man.
I had a good time doing that, you know, and you know that shot with the spur and the boot, you know, just you know,
Yeah.
stepping down, you know, that kind of set the tone for the whole film for me. I mean, you know, because I didn't usually get a chance to see the playback, you know, but I did catch that one, and it was like, wow, okay, I know where I'm going with the rest of this role.
Have you ever done a
Nice.
Western beforehand? Or?
Let's see. I have played cowboys, but not period pieces.
Okay.
Well,
like
let's
that.
take it back, man. What got you into acting?
What got me into
Yeah, because I know you were in the radio station, you were in the army, so I thought I knew you, Jim.
my first role
Okay.
was I guess I was 16.
16,
really?
Jim.
Yeah, and I had a really bad day, and this guy came up to me and said, "Man, you ought to go out to this community theater." And I was in Corpus Christi at the time.
Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I'm going to do a plug for the Harbor Playhouse.
Yeah,
Hi guys,
yes.
you know.
All right.
Yeah, great theater. Had all the running lights and the rigs and everything else.
Right.
And I went down and I auditioned for the Sunshine Boys.
Sunshine Boys.
Yeah, Neil Simon. And let's see, the film version had George Burns, I think, and Walter Matthau.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
Classic.
anyway,
Yeah.
I went out and I auditioned for it, and they cast me as
Sweet.
the stage manager, which they also gave me the position as a stage manager backstage. So it worked out pretty well.
You were a stage manager?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you must know how to like just control a crowd then. I feel like the stage manager usually has the hardest job behind like a play, like honestly.
Well, that bullwhip that Harrison Ford carries, and
That's
yeah, that's it.
the lucky. That's the
Yeah.
Pretty much sums it up.
Anyway, that was the first role, and then I got I kind of got the bug after that.
Yes.
And then after that, there were a series of plays, a couple of Neil Simon things. One of which was The Good Doctor.
Good doctor.
Yeah, it's another Neil Simon play. It's got a series of vignettes, plays within plays, and I wound up doing that for the Harbor Playhouse at the age of 18, and then I went back to college in my 40s, and that was our summer stock
Really?
production,
Okay.
and I played the same role again, and I have only had one other production. Stage production that I've had that much fun with, I had a great cast to work with.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
the
of course,
best,
my
yeah.
professors were, you know, very, very supportive. It is, you know, they just turned me loose and let me go.
That's what you need
Nice,
sometimes.
nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then it's been kind of sporadic. You know, I dabble here and there. You know, I get a call and say, hey, you want to do this role, or you know, you want to do. And I like working with students a lot.
Really?
Yeah. NMSU over in Las Cruces, they do a lot of you know, projects. The only thing that the screenwriting, you know, everybody wants to be, you know, a drug dealer, badass, you know, gunplay, you know, and they're writing about things that they really don't have any experience with,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and it's like for somebody like me to come along and say, well, that's not really the way this goes, but okay, you know.
That's not real.
I've been in the business for that long.
Yeah, my deal on that is that they don't get a chance to work with a trained actor that often. You know, most of the kids over there are still finding their chops.
Yeah.
You know, they're experimenting with what works. And,
Grasshoppers looking for
Finding
them.
them.
yeah,
themselves,
you
for
know,
sure.
and I like being able to, you know, give them the benefit of whatever experience that I have. I like to be a positive influence and say, look, you know, this is where you got to go with this.
Yeah, that's good,
You
man.
know,
Aspiring actors need that.
well,
That little boost.
yeah, you know, I mean, I remember when I was, you know, doing my first roles and that kind of thing, to have that kind of encouragement.
Big.
Yeah, you know, it
Huge.
makes a big difference because acting is kind of about taking risks.
Yeah.
You know, you're exposing yourself. The, you know,
vulnerable.
the
Yeah.
interior. You know, that's you.
Challenging, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, to have somebody come along and say it's okay to do that. You know, not everything works. You know, and this is why we have rehearsal.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the push and pull that comes with different roles.
Yeah. The hit or miss, you got to go just keep
Yeah,
swinging.
you know, I mean, you know, the scene that we did at the bar. You know, I mean, you know, you throw something out there, and it's not just, you know, saying the words. You know, I mean, contrary to one actor's opinion, he said, you know, say the words, don't bump into furniture. You know, okay, well,
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you know, you got to reach in, and it's like, if you could do it completely without dialogue. As a matter of fact, that's one of the acting exercises that we all learn.
Take out the silent, be silent, and then
you
see
know,
if
and it's like,
they know what we're saying.
what are
Or-
you reacting to?
Exactly.
You know, and there's, like I said, there's that give and take, and you know, when you're first starting out, you know, I don't think anybody is you know, born an actor. You know, there are varying degrees of talent that you're blessed with.
Right.
You know, but the more you use it, the more you cultivate it.
Practice.
You know.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust
But you gotta,
upon
you
them.
know, keep doing
Yeah,
it.
some of them just never get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know, but you know, I will never ever stop anybody from trying. I will never ever not encourage somebody.
Exactly.
nice. That was very beautiful, man. I like that.
Yeah, very motivational.
Yeah, and I
Motivation. Motivation.
Motivate.
I can't even talk. Yeah, I can't be an actor, so.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, speaking of, since we do have another cast member of the film here, I mean, John. Not only are you like hosting this too, but like, tell us about your experience, man. How did you even get involved with this?
my experience was interesting because I tried it the first time. I guess it didn't work. We got a better actor, a better suitable actor that fit the role for sure. Yeah, he's all the way back there.
Kevin Smith.
No, but it was interesting, man. I learned a lot. I mean, I remember we were there one night till like about 2 o'clock, lost in the middle of nowhere, cold, freezing cold, trying to make things work.
You guys gotta
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me what happened on this set, cause you guys seem like you have PTSD or something.
Well,
Like
okay.
you guys don't want to talk about it.
More or
You
less.
know, like
We had a perfect location.
it's a western. I understand.
We had a perfect location. It was
Yeah.
just in the middle of nowhere. So getting
Really?
there was the hardest part. But the location, I mean, I guess everybody fell in love with the location. We wanted to use the location. So
Nice.
we tried it again. We tried it with me the first time. Second time we tried it again with Jim. Made magic. It was a couple of interesting nights. Like,
You guys pulled a Back to the Future where like they filmed half of it with Eric Stoltz, and they're like, let's get that guy from that
exactly.
one show.
Yeah.
Make it like a
Yeah.
completely different movie.
Oh, no, it was really interesting. It was cold. I remember it was being really cold, and I just remember like
Yeah, it was
a
filmed in
lot of actors
November.
go through this.
It was
Well,
filmed
yeah,
during
'cause
this
you-
time.
I'm gonna butt in, and you can just throw in my voice in post or whatever. But I'm gonna butt in and say that the reason the location
Has an emotional attachment to
has an emotional
the
attachment
director.
to the director,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the director, Adam Lopez, it's his family's ranch. It's his family's
It was
property.
his
It's a really nice
grandfather's, right?
ranch.
Yeah,
That was a
it's
ranch?
ranch party. They had
That's really
cattle there
nice.
and everything. So it was it's their location. So he had an emotional attachment. He promised his grandfather, "Hey, when I make my first movie, I'm going to use your property."
wow, really?
So that's
Yeah.
why we kind of recurringly used that location.
I liked
fell in
your
love with it.
location
and
a
it was
lot.
perfect.
Yeah.
We agreed as producers because it was
There was a lake
it
right
was
next
great.
to it. We
It was
needed
a
lake.
great location.
It's
It was
aesthetically nice
Had a
too.
stagecoach
Exactly,
vibe
so
for sure.
just butting in to mention that that there was some emotional attachment, and
Okay.
it ended up being the perfect location for the film
Nice,
itself. So.
nice.
Getting there, however, I'll let them elaborate
Ooh.
on. But,
Well, we have to keep Jim fed and.
Yeah,
Have to keep 'em-
lots and lots
I was
of
the
coffee.
same way. I was. Yeah.
Coffee and cigarettes.
Oh.
Coffee and cigarette.
But
Believe
no,
it or not, I'm in the process of giving up cigarettes.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah.
man! Congrats,
No,
man.
I-
That's
I was
good.
gonna say that. So how's life been?
I'm a little cranky. Yeah.
I got a cigarette.
You doubled up on that coffee
That's why you get
now.
those sugar rushes, man.
Oh well, I really feel it after I eat.
No, but I'm married, man. I'm married, man. Trying it.
Nah, it's
Yeah, man.
tough, man. But,
But
that's good.
get back to that location. I mean, there were we got out there and we couldn't hardly find where we were going. Everything looked the same. Well, go out toward this cactus and take a right. What cactus were?
It's a cactus that looks like it's weird. It's peculiar.
And after we finished the evening shoot, I remember we were out by the lake and we kept trying to light things on fire just to stay warm.
Yeah.
And
Right. Try like 2 pits.
And we need a lot of lighting for that shot too. It was really dark.
well, yeah, and I think Adam wanted to try and make it so that it was like sunrise and the sun, it was already
It was
dark.
already
so,
dark, yeah.
we just said, well, if we shoot it this way, nobody's going to know. I mean, is the
Yeah,
sun going up or going down? It's
We're
not
trying
like
to
we're
cheat
taking a
it.
long tracking shot. But coming back out of that location was.
That was like the most interesting part. Yes.
I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, man.
Nice.
What was the whole
I've seen
Twilight-
that cactus before.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had all the gear packed up in the back of these pickup trucks, and we're driving, and I, like I said, I can't remember who was driving, right? But he was trying to get the directions on the phone, right? And the phone says that there's roads out there, and I'm looking, and all I see are ruts. I mean, this is worse than the pig trail, man.
Man, this
And-
ain't even on Google Maps.
Yeah, and off in the distance, way out there, I can see the lights going on I-10, and we're going the other direction, And finally, he looks down and he went, "Oh crap! I've been holding this thing upside down," and he turns it around. So
Yes.
now we're driving around. Now I'm not exactly a small guy, and I'm jammed in this pickup truck, and I'm getting every
family
rock
road
and
But it was so worth it, though. I mean,
Oh
the
yes,
location.
absolutely.
The location.
I
had to be
have
used.
never had so much fun.
Yeah.
Even with the bitter cold temperatures,
Nice.
and leeches in lakes and all of that good stuff.
Talk about that. The actress.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I remember.
Props to the actress.
She crawled out of that lake, and I remember thinking to myself, what a trooper,
Yeah.
'cause-
Set the setting. It was like about.
oh, it couldn't have been more. It had to have been between 30, 35
it's
degrees.
like 12 o'clock midnight.
Yes,
weather.
I mean it
It's
was.
already
Yeah, it was
past
bad.
full
It was
Sorry.
cold.
Yeah.
And
So
this,
she did the scene.
yeah, this little girl, like a trooper,
Carlos
crawled into
Trooper.
this thing
Yeah,
all
Carlos
the way
Fiancé.
up to her waist,
Ay.
Well, she gets out,
Baptized.
and the crew is standing by with
Yeah,
all
we-
kinds of blankets,
yeah, for
you know.
sure.
and,
You had a
I'm-
fire going too.
Yeah, and they're charging her,
And you
and,
spotted it.
yeah, I saw this, I mean. I'm not supposed to be looking at other women's legs,
No,
but
but it
know,
was just-
I thought it was a mole at first,
Wait.
and
No,
then
it
it
was-
wasn't.
It was a what was
Oh my
it?
God.
It was
a leech.
leeches.
It was a leech.
Yes, and I said something. I said, "Hold still," and I went to pull it, and she started to freak.
Aww.
The
beauty of making
and
films.
if
Beauty
it
of
hadn't
making
been
films.
for Carlos
Aw.
there, I'm sure. We
What's
would've
the
had a
actress's
sack
name?
on it.
What's the actress's name? I think.
The actress's name was Sandra Morales, which is my fiance.
It was her.
Oh my God, dude.
So we kinda
She
went
pulled through.
This process.
How is she still with
No,
you?
she-
No,
It wasn't her.
Very unlucky. No, just I guess to talk about it a little bit, but she, my
thought she loved
fiance is fantastic, but she's not an actress, and she's never wanted to be one. She was just simply helping us out because she had the right look, There wasn't any dialogue, maybe one or two lines.
The thing is, we had another actress, but she couldn't make it.
She couldn't make it to the shoot.
Yeah,
she
the
dropped out of the
first
film right before.
I didn't recognize Sandra.
And Sandra, for the early part of the Tower 20, most of the Tower 20 did the hair and makeup, costuming.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, I mean, if it's just stepping into the lake up to my knees, I'll do it. You know, if I can do it, I'll do it. But the thing about my fiance is, bless her heart, she's a real girly girl type and doesn't love like bugs or
I mean, I don't like leeches either.
All that stuff kind of makes her squirm.
But
and,
still, look,
she hates
the
amphibians.
way that it was so cold and she still kept her cool because she had to
Yeah.
be moving slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she pulled through, man. I can't
yeah.
you asking me how is she still with me, Adam?
And then,
But she did, I mean, amazingly, man. Like she really pulled through for the take one for the team is an
Nice.
understatement
Yeah,
for
yeah.
what she did there, because yeah, it was great. But Jim was like pointing it out, and we were all just kind of, but she was fine. She calmed down.
She did it
you
for
know?
the shot.
She did it for the
Props
shot.
to Sandra.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
my
sure.
God.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was
She was a trooper.
That's a good one.
That's one of those things that is indelibly, imprinted on my brain. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest shot or shoot of the film because right even before arriving on location, we're like call time was at 8 in the morning, and we're supposed to be arriving there like at 9. I want to
That's
say
film,
10.
baby. That's film.
And we didn't get there till like 5 p.m. because the 2 pickup trucks with all the gear, one of them gave out. It started to warm up, and we had to stop at a gas station and check it out. And we thought, oh, it's already. With
Jim
the
wanted
we
to
put the
Uber
cap
over
on.
there. I was like, all right.
Hey, well, we found the part. We just couldn't put it back on because it had
Oh,
like a little
yeah.
tack weld,
Nice.
That's true.
And what was it, Austin? The oil, filler.
It was hot.
By the way, I want to apologize. I did not introduce the people behind the scenes.
Yeah,
I'm
the
so
ones that
sorry.
put in the work.
Carlos La Torre, of course, he's helping out with camera. Michael De La O, of course, our director, really the guy who sets up everything up for us. He tells us what to do before we show up. And of course, my co-host, who's behind the camera, Austin Tower.
Austin
Productions.
Young.
Oh, no, yeah, I mean, Tower.
Stay young, dog.
I was thinking your Instagram name, dude. I'm sorry. Austin Tower.
Just getting back to it with the pickup truck. It was my dad's pickup truck, and heading out there just kept overheating. And
Because we were pretty stocked up. So that
yeah, I mean,
We got stranded.
yeah, we
over
stopped
there.
like 3 times because it kept overheating, and for the life of me, can't remember what exactly happened to it. But yeah, we were stuck on the side of the road
you got it going though.
for a couple hours, and I think
No,
somebody else went back and picked up another
no,
pickup truck.
We
right?
had to call
Yeah.
up a towing truck for your.
Yeah, I sent the tow truck, and
I knew the towing guy, like he was a customer at the time when I used to work at a gas station,
Small
because
world.
he was kind of like skeptical. No, I should go with him and with the car. And I was like, no,
Yeah,
I
I
know
remember
this guy.
that.
He'll just take it to the house. We gotta get rolling. But we were stranded there for a good while, like just
Yeah,
on,
that
the,
was-
on the highway.
yeah, I think that was one of the biggest delays. And then
Yeah.
we also had to wait for the horses to get out there, which didn't even end up
Oh,
going
you
out
Guys,
there.
this was a Western.
Yeah.
Like, this
We
We
was
had
a Western,
horses. Yeah.
We're
You
getting
guys were
hungry.
playing.
I felt bad for those guys.
That was the talent, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. What was his name? Jim Soares on the
Dale.
on set. Dale.
Dale.
Yeah, he's a trooper, man. Like he knew how to like handle the horse and like we
Shout
didn't.
out to
Okay.
Jordan.
Cool.
The funny thing about that is I hadn't been on a horse in 20 years.
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a ranch between Corpus and San Antonio. Yeah.
Nice.
The ranch is awesome.
By the way, shout
He's
out
done
to
it all.
Jordan. She's a friend of my fiance Sandra's, and she provided all the horses.
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
cool.
She's studying for that. Like she's going to
Oh,
college
wow,
for like
really?
Yeah, she's
equine
really done her.
okay.
health or whatever. And she was doing volunteer work at this ranch, and basically we said, hey, we need horses. Who can we talk to? And yeah, they're really good about it for most of the
Dope.
shots. This particular shoot, they just couldn't get out there that day. They had, I guess, other events, and we were waiting around for like an hour or so, and then they couldn't show, and they just kind of delay after delay. But we were blessed enough to have horses on a film that had no
Yes.
budget.
They did
Yeah.
show, but like we had to dismiss them because it was already we were already
Yeah,
far
man.
May I
behind.
ask
Just
what the
we already
budget
far
for this
behind.
film was?
We didn't have a set budget. I mean, we spent money on feeding the cast and crew. We spent money. We did give a donation, like for the horses,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to their outfit. You know, we gave them a donation, but I mean, all in all, we must have spent less than $200.
That's insane.
probably.
That's
Like,
insane.
Yeah.
Because I honestly thought this was probably the most expensive one you guys have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it the most expensive one you guys have?
No.
No, not by a long
Because
shot.
by
Yeah.
all definitions, it should be, right? I mean, you
Right.
It should have been
It
expensive.
should have been.
It should have been, but
with the costuming and then trying to disguise El Paso as a 1800s,
It-
which we
we
did.
really just pulled.
I was
It's a
shocked
testament
that
to
we-
what the
damn,
Tower
this
20
worked
is.
out,
Yes,
man.
yes.
It's a testament to what the Tower 20 is, to make a film on no money and just pull it from your resources.
That's
and
amazing,
a
man.
Western, everybody looked
Robert
at us that way.
Rodriguez, right?
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
said a Western. What? How, you guys have money? No, we're just gonna.
I was
We're
even
gonna
thinking,
figure it out.
Most
I mean,
people
yeah.
scoff, like, oh, sure,
Yeah.
Western or like
Oh.
sci-fi movie or like. You know
Right.
what I mean?
He mentioned the costuming, you know. I just like that all the time. You know? It's
See, like, that was
To be
perfect.
honest with you, if I can't show up in jeans and boots, I probably don't need to be there, you know.
Just add the sheriff's star. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you think of the? Cause I know you have to shoot it again, the lake part, right? You guys have to do.
Yeah, we had to reshoot
man.
that.
How
Yeah.
was that? Because I wasn't there. And I've just heard
Yeah, be grateful you weren't, man. Yeah, it was
an experience, though, right?
Yeah, Adam came out and he said, "Oh, you know, we're going over to this location. Is my aunt's house, you know, and we're going to use the pool. And what we'll do is we'll take a green screen, we'll drop it in the pool, you know. And then November, New Mexico, Texas, you know, you figure, well, you know, it's not going to be that cold, right? And air temperature, it was a little chilly, but it wasn't intolerable. Austin over here, man. Boy, I'll tell you what, I have.
Ooh, he gave you the
I don't know what's going on.
That guy has no fear whatsoever. He
Yeah?
just
Oh,
plunged
really?
right into this pool, and he said, "Oh my, it's cold." Right? You know, and I'm
Tiptoed
thinking to
inside.
myself, you know, I went over and I stuck my hand in it. It's like, wow, you know, that's a little bit cool.
You're
you know?
crazy.
Yeah, Austin's in there, boy, and he's trying to rig, you know, green screen this and, you know, putting sandbags and stuff everywhere. You know, comes time for me to get in the water, man, and I got down to that second step, and the water was probably up to my knees, and my whole back just seized right up. And it's
That's
like,
how cold it was.
yeah, I mean, you know, in Titanic, Jack Dawson makes reference, oh, it feels like a million knives sticking you all at
Yeah,
once.
man,
He
yeah.
ain't lying, man.
Yeah, I've heard that, I've heard
Oh, God, you know, I couldn't do it. So we
Was
had-
there enough room on the raft for you in Austin, though?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, was there enough
There
room?
was no raft. He was out there swimming in it. Oh,
Austin was a fucking glacier.
yeah, I mean, you know, he was like a polar bear.
I'd like to mention Eric got down to his underwear
Oh,
to get back into that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did.
Yo, you in your
Yeah, yeah.
underwear?
Austin wasn't in there by himself. I remember that.
Yeah, because
That's
that's
teamwork.
strip. Because I had to have the camera on you. Like, essentially, the scene was it had Jim being drowned by La Llorona. Like it was like a dream sequence,
Right.
Very
which
cool
was
scene.
unfortunately cut out from the script because it was just tough. We didn't have-
Unfortunate for you, maybe, but not
Yeah,
for me.
it's like-
You
yeah,
guys shot,
horrible.
oh wait, so this scene you guys never put in the film? Then?
No,
we
we
couldn't get to it,
Filmmaking, man,
unfortunately.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Ooh.
Yeah,
It's
if we're gonna do this, I mean, you know, hey, I'm all set for a 3.0, guys. You know, if you want to redo this
The director's
again,
cut.
that'd be all right. You know.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
And we'll.
Oh, we got you for other roles, man.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
we just go out and but we're gonna film it in like June.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, first it was like in spring,
the
but like
sun
we
is
had to
straight
push
up top
back
of us.
again.
Yeah.
We had to push back because of that scene so many times. Like it was a development hell. Like we couldn't just finish the movie. Like we kept bringing Jim back over here. Like all right, let's go roll ball
They
rolling.
admired you, man. You kept
Yeah.
going through. Like,
Well,
Nah,
yeah,
he was just dedicated.
I
You've been
would,
doing
I
this for a
would
while.
do. There are limits. I mean, you know.
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
When,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
my body
I feel
says,
you.
you ain't doing this, I gotta say, yeah.
No, I
No,
agree.
no, no,
I was
yeah,
in the water
sure,
myself,
man.
and I couldn't keep the camera still. It was just, and we only had the one camera. So
Yeah.
if that dropped that, we're fucked. You know. So
Yeah. Like I said, you know, even with the hiccups that you know all productions run into,
exactly.
Yeah.
they all have them.
They'd all help out for the next one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and well, not only that, but I mean, you know, not once you get the problems licked more or less, you know, it's like you can anticipate.
That's where
you know,
you're
different
really
ones coming
tested
in.
too.
Yeah,
because
you
then
know.
you like you know I've always said like everybody wants to make a podcast, but nobody wants to set up the equipment or like actually learn how to like do it or stuff. So it's the same way with filmmaking, I assume, where it's like, well, yeah, I mean, of course I've done my own films as well, but like with you guys, I know you guys are doing like these bigger projects and stuff. So like I imagine for you guys, like for people who like wear these like stitched up shirts and stuff and really try to like carry yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
When you guys come up with those problems, like I assume you guys are like, all right, but like a la fregada, like let's fucking do it, like like.
Yeah, that's true, Jim. What did you think of us once you left the set?
Yeah, once
Once
like
you-
everything
once-
wrapped
What was your
up.
experience working with Tower? Honestly.
Oh, well,
Honestly,
honestly,
right here.
Okay, and I'm not saying this just because y'all gave me a T-shirt. And I do have it, and I do wear it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, I like to, especially if I'm going to another production.
Perfect.
Like, hey, I'm loyal.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
taken.
Awesome.
Well, not only that, but it's just actors, so people know what the hell I do. I had so much fun. I mean, like I said, I hadn't been on a horse in 20 years. That was a gas.
That's good.
Coming out and hanging out with you guys and the laughter. Even in the face of great adversity.
Exactly.
It's like you can't help but laugh.
Yeah,
I mean, we had such fun. People driving by, and the semi,
Us weighing our options.
Yeah, but I mean, even through all of that, we had 2 pickup trucks worth of people and equipment, and we're standing on the side of the road, and what should have been, a thoroughly crappy experience turned out, it wasn't bad, and by the time we actually got to the set, I was, thinking, well, we got here, now what? Because if I remember right, the setting was supposed to be during the day. And I think we had like 30 minutes before the sun started to set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
we're still
setting
building the
quick,
set,
too.
too.
Yeah.
Back off what Jim's saying because, truth be told, Flowers was, for those of you that don't know, Austin, Eric, Sanchez, and I started Tower out of a Village Inn, and it was just us 3 and just kind of started wanting to make films. And kind of the whole idea was that I thought in my brain I'm going to be directing and writing for the most part. I'm not going to be producing. Austin's going to be the producer. I kind of convinced Austin you need to be a producer, and this film was probably I think the first time after my first short, after a couple shorts, and after my feature film. But I wasn't directing, I was a producer. So this film taught me more about producing than any other film, because it was us trying to get everything together. And I have this philosophy that I probably developed around that time for filmmaking is people ask me, like there's people who ask me, I don't know everything, but people who ask me, hey, I'm starting my first film, what do I do? How do I approach this? And my biggest thing that I tell any filmmaker, no matter what capacity you're working in, is something's going to go wrong, so expect it. Something's gonna go wrong. It is going to go wrong. Whether your actor's gonna show up 2 hours late, or the set's not working, or the camera's not working.
Hey, what you looking at me
Something. You know why I'm looking at. No, but
Some cast drop out of the film.
right.
Gotta replace
Something's
them on
going
the
to go
quiz.
wrong, so expect it. Set
Yep.
your expectations, and find a creative way to find the solution. So that's my whole philosophy with filmmaking out into life too, right? So, that film taught me that more than anything is like something's going to go wrong. We knew how ambitious we were being with this film because it's a Western and horses and actors and supernatural, heavy makeup and big sets.
bringing actors
So,
over here.
Not to those of you who don't know, because we have listeners and viewers from all over the world, guys. So thank you for that. But El Paso and Las Cruces are about an hour and a half away from each other, depending on what part of El Paso you're going to. And we had to bring Jim back and forth all the way from Las Cruces every time. That's why it's a big deal that Jim stuck around.
Yes, absolutely.
Honestly, we got to the point where we thought we were gonna lose, if not the cast, the crew. We got to the point where we were like, you know what, man, nobody's gonna watch. This film should have stopped Tower in its tracks.
No, you were gonna lose me.
It should have stopped Tower in its tracks. Like with everything that went wrong, we should have been like, you know what, guys, this isn't working, man.
Really?
We should just try something else. But it didn't. The fact that everybody pushed forward and was like, no, that was cool. We learned a lot. On to the next film.
Yeah.
That's how we approached it. So I have to attest to what Jim's saying, because that taught me as a producer, as an executive producer, like, okay, that went pretty bad. We can figure out, the
I was a
experience,
diva, man.
the
I was a
film
straight up
and
diva.
the
I was
concept
hungry.
and the story and the director, everything was great. But the experience itself was, how much worse could it get? So that on the next film, which was probably a dialogue film, it was like, come on, man. Whatever goes wrong here is not going to compare to what just went wrong. We know how to fix it. We know how to take care of it.
We went through the bigger shit that we've ever gone through any movie. I think that was the toughest movie we had to film.
It really
I love that.
was
Really-
a formative film for Tower.
It taught
Well,
like
I haven't taken
It was a
all the
formative
things-
film
The
for
more
Tower.
period that you go, or the more specific your setting is,
Yeah.
you know, for instance, science fiction, or you go Western, anything that isn't contemporary. Can lead to some, issues. I mean,
You know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sure, judge me by my size.
Yeah.
You
No,
think
but,
George Lucas didn't have
Yes,
I got it right away.
He was on Tony.
Me a while.
I'll butt out just because but I did want to mention that this was a formative experience for Tower. This was something that was either going to set us up to break Tower or to make Tower, and it definitely made Tower to like. We didn't lose anybody on the crew. Like, everybody came back. We thought Jim's such a great actor. He's never gonna want to work with us again. And he's always been like, "Hey guys, so
That
what's
seems to
up?"
be the
Yeah,
recurring.
We weren't gonna stop trying to ask.
Actually, I'm just a film whore.
Perfect.
Yeah, well,
But I'll butt out. But I just want to mention, in terms of Tower, like I have to see everything from a top view. If my director's going through something, I have to back them up. My producer, my writers, whatever. As an executive producer, it's my job to oversee this. And as an executive producer, I saw just how much it formed Tower, like just how much it solidified us as a crew. With the cast we worked with, this
agree.
really connected us, man.
It really
If there's anything
brought
I'm
us
grateful
together.
for Flowers for the Young Lady, it's the fact that it connected Tower a whole lot more.
Oh yeah.
And we met Jim.
Oh well.
Yeah, we had a blast with Jim. It was so fun to talk to him behind the scenes and just have fun overall.
It was fun, as much fun for me, guys. I mean,
I feel the bond.
Yeah, it is.
I really do.
You start to work with these people, and you develop. There's a certain amount of trust as an actor that you have to have in your director. There's a certain amount of trust that you have to have in the rest of your crew, because it's easy. Yeah, I say this, and I know I'm going to catch some heat for it.
No.
But as an actor, that's kind of a glory position, if you will. I'm the guy that's out front, and I get all the attention. But I can't do that without a good DP. I can't do that without a director. I can't do that without producers. Gaffers, best boys, tech guys. I can't do any of it.
Yep.
So it's really a team effort. And there are things that are going to go wrong. Carlos is absolutely right. You got to expect those things.
Yeah.
But being able to adjust on the fly and make it come to life.
Really living.
Man, there's nothing more rewarding than that.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you come off with a crappy film, hey, you were out there, you did it, and you made stuff happen.
Awesome.
I live by that. For sure.
And
For sure.
Like I said, there's nothing more rewarding, and I feel like I've made some good friendships, and bonds, people that I would trust to work with again.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome.
He's airing out his armpit. I like it. Y'all can't see that, but it's really pretty impressive.
Get to know you a little bit better, man. You have any more projects? Any other projects we could see Jim in the big screen?
Well, let's see. Bruce Dern is currently over in Las Cruces filming.
Okay.
Death in Texas is the title of the film. I got to do a little bit of background on that. And I'll come back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
There's some things about the industry that I'd like to mention. But on the whole, there's a film we're hoping to get a decent sized budget. A friend of mine, Matt Valdivinos, has got a film called Precious Cargo.
Precious Cargo.
Nice.
Yes, it's a great story and very, very timely, considering everything that's happening along the border.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And it's a great story.
Okay.
All on its own. Let's see other things that I've done. I finished up a project last summer. Local here in El Paso. I can't remember the title of it though, but the director was James Arabido, so shout out to him. but I played this inmate.
Oh yeah, you were telling us about that. Yes,
And they took us into the jail, and they gave me the inmate's clothes, and all the guards are looking at me, It's
They
like,
started
hey, man,
thinking, like,
please remember, I am not an inmate. I do not want to stay here,
That's what they all say.
Yeah,
Super
that's
sentence,
exactly.
scumbag.
A little unnerving, but it was a fun role. Usually I wind up playing cops or
Cowboys.
well, cowboys I don't mind.
Yeah.
The horses
You
and
got
I
the
get
look
along.
for that, man, with that belt. Woo!
Oh yeah, shout out to the Batman belt this guy's wearing, man. It's I mean, if you want to show it
All
off,
right,
go
all right,
ahead.
I got
honestly.
you.
Look at that,
There
man.
you go. Hey, Batman.
Honestly, man, that's actually pretty Bruce Wayne.
So
of
why
you.
Batman?
Huh?
Why Batman instead of Superman?
Batman's way better.
I'll come back to that.
All right.
I want to know why Jim picked Batman.
Because he's human, and he's
He's got to do push-ups every morning.
yeah, well, he's sick and he's twisted like me, so we kind of relate on that. Yeah. But no, really, Superman. Anybody that's got superheroes, kind of it gives them too much of an edge. Clark has his kryptonite. Now we got different kinds of kryptonite. Black kryptonite, green kryptonite, yellow kryptonite. And now
Yeah,
do
that's how
some
they go,
weird stuff
for
to
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Kryptonite the lunchbox.
yeah.
Kryptonite
Yeah.
the flamethrower.
Yeah. Whereas Batman's just kind of driven. He's got one thing, and he doesn't kill.
I like
That's
that.
true,
I
he
like
just
that
hurts, that's
Batman. I
true.
prefer that Batman. It doesn't kill.
Yeah.
And he's human, like you said. He's human, like that's
Yeah. I mean,
relatable.
he's every man that can do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And I think everybody.
And it kind of mirrors like that of like your character like a Texas Ranger, somebody who like this is Western times. I mean, Western times
it
at
for
that
the
point
good.
everything was Gotham City.
Oh,
so
well,
when you have somebody who's got their like hand on the trigger and stuff, like they're in charge.
Gotham
of, like,
by Gaslight,
Exactly,
and all those elsewhere or Elseworld series,
Yeah.
But I think everybody can relate more or less to Batman because everybody has the potential to do something extraordinary. And all they need is the opportunity, or they have to have the drive, and the opportunity. I mean, those go together.
I agree.
But that's. Plus, I mean, it's just a cool logo. I'm sorry.
it is a really cool logo. Which Batman though, real quick?
Oh, that's the
man.
good
Quick.
question
Trying
of
to
the
lock me
day.
down. Well, I grew up with Adam West. All right, Adam West, I think, has the coolest car. Who do I think actually captured the best overall character of Batman would have been Bale.
Yes, I agree.
Really?
Both.
The problem, I like Michael Keaton. I got respect for him as an actor.
Michael Keaton's a cool-looking Batman.
And then, of course, you've got, Jim Gordon, and I sit there and, wow.
I feel like Gary Oldman's the best Jim Gordon for me
I'm
personally.
telling you what, I have seen that guy in so many different films.
He's super versatile.
And he never looks the same.
Yeah.
His accent is always, that's a guy that's not afraid to put himself out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people give Johnny Depp that credit, like, oh, he's a chameleon, and like definitely for sure. But I usually give that to
Ever since
Gary
they found him
Oldman.
wearing
'Cause,
a
I mean, I
head-
don't know, like.
Well, think about it. You go from The Fifth Element, where he's wearing a fishbowl on his head, and he's talking real southern like that, and then he turns around
That's
and
when I
he's
was
playing
introduced to
Jim
him.
Gordon, and it's like, he does that.
He does.
It's just the thing he does. Yeah, he leaps off the building and he's gone.
I think that what I like about those movies is that like they make the setting believable because like I mean obviously like Christopher Nolan tried to like make it as realistic as possible, but like he always talks about how he loves those ensemble casts to really reflect like, hey, this is a real world and stuff. So like James Gordon being like Batman's sort of like connection to the police and like being a father, they always played up that element and stuff. So I've always liked those Batman movies for that.
Well, yeah, one of the things about Nolan, the casting on those films was just dynamic. I mean, everybody, from Bane all the way back to, the guy that played
Joker.
What the crime boss?
Oh,
Yeah, everybody knows
Falcone?
who I'm talking about.
the first one with Scarecrow.
No. The original crime boss, when Bale was just finding, his legs as Batman.
He's the one that like throws them out, right? And he's like, I can shoot you and nobody
Wait,
would
So
care.
that's it.
Yeah.
God.
He was in
Carmine.
Spotless
Yeah.
Mind. He was in Spot. He was.
Ra's
I know
al
who you're talking about. No, you're talking about Falcone, I think.
That's it.
Yeah, Falcone.
I couldn't remember Falcone to save my life. It's probably a good thing. But the entire everybody made that film go. The characters were locked in. Episodic television. Especially. For instance, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
That's a great show.
Yeah,
love
it
that
turned
show.
into a great
Yeah,
show. When it
definitely.
first started off, they were trying to figure out, what do we do with these characters?
They just kept having them bump into like Napoleon in the middle of nowhere, or like.
Well,
weird waves
it goes beyond that because what I saw, being a fan of the original show, was that like they had split Spock up. That's tough to say, folks. Split Spock up.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. Try it 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
Anyway, Troy got the telepathic ability, whereas Data got the non-emotion. But they were struggling to figure out, how these characters related to each other.
which is what Star Trek's about. Yeah.
Yes, and once they got that locked in, boy, it took off. I mean, there
Yeah.
were great stories, and when they finished it off, it's like, well, damn, what do we do now?
Really quickly, I'm not sure if you want to touch upon this, but I was told that you were a part of Star Trek in some way.
Name only,
Okay, because I know your name's James Travis Kirk, so I don't know. I was told that, but
Yeah, but that I came 6 years before the series. It's a case of art imitating life. And I was a captain in the Army, flew helicopters.
That's awesome.
The fact that there's this T in the middle of your name is a little suspicious, but I'm going to just assume that you're not the future Kirk that hasn't been born yet, but we'll see.
I look at it this way. I think Mr. Roddenberry just didn't have his glasses on.
Yeah, that's what it
He
was.
misread the birth certificate. That's all,
But yeah, no, really quick, you guys. I would love to end it on the note with like. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, what did you think of the film, man? Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end, like what I think my question to you was gonna be like, what was your biggest takeaway from the whole film experience, from acting to seeing it come to life, and just you as an actor, like, how did you feel like the growth that left you like from this project and stuff?
Left me hungry for more. I mean,
Nice.
it's one of those things. I could see something like that being turned into a series. Maybe not all supernatural, but the character I enjoyed. Cole was.
There could always be a part 2.
I hope so. I'd certainly like to come back for that. To be honest with you, after I read the script all the way through, and I talked with Adam a little bit about it, we don't have any John Waynes anymore.
No.
And I don't think I could, maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
We have superheroes.
I wouldn't mind stepping into those shoes, but they're awful big shoes to fill. Getting along with, like Robert Duvall,
Yeah, you're a big fan of Robert Duvall.
Oh,
right?
God,
Like anything
yeah.
Western with that guy.
Well, the whole, Lonesome Dove series. But, I mean, the characters themselves were great. Steve Zahn, when he came and he was playing Augustus McCrae, he captured everything that Duvall did in the original, Lonesome Dove. Had that thing where he was talking about the Great Western, Maddie and everything else. And Carl Urban, all of the incarnations of Carl and McCrae were just, they're great characters. And other westerns that I have really enjoyed, of course, Dances with Wolves. That's
a beautiful movie, man.
Well,
I love
not
that
only
movie.
is it a beautiful movie, but I mean it's the whole tone.
Yeah.
The settings, everything was just Costner did.
It takes your breath away, like, honestly.
Well, and then I liked the Young Guns.
Little foot man. Little man.
Well, Amelia Estevez,
Yeah.
I'll make you famous.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's an interesting take on Billy the Kid. But you got the feeling, that when you're in period like that, everybody. I think the West is more or less romanticized to the point where people don't think about, there wasn't a whole lot of toilet paper back then. Indoor plumbing was something of a
luxury,
a novelty.
A novelty. Look, it flushes.
I mean. Taking a bath once, every 2 weeks, that would suck,
It was gritty back then.
But, the romanticized portion of it comes, men taking the stand, and I don't mean to sound sexist about that. It's just, I think times were different.
Lawless times.
1882, you had, Wyatt Earp out there, and Wyatt Earp was, a real gunslinger.
Yeah, they were the rock stars of back then. I mean,
Well, I don't know that it was necessarily a rock star type thing as it was,
well, they definitely lived like rock stars. I mean, they were definitely shooting up saloons or there was like those.
Well, the Cowboys were.
The Cowboys
but,
for sure.
I mean, you had people like the Earps and just settling in and taking care of business, trying to provide law where there was none.
Right.
And
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, well, I can see myself doing that, but now I'd have to go to Washington D.C. and we won't get into that. But I believe in integrity, and I think guys back then had it. They stood by what they believed in and they followed through.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so
Times have changed for sure.
yeah, I can't say that I wouldn't mind returning to those days.
Yeah.
I guess I think we did too, man. Like, what did you think of the film and like your experiences as a
Sir
DP?
Eric.
Sir Eric Sanchez.
It was a fun experience for sure, man. Like I had a lot of fun. That's when I had to learn a lot on the spot, like on the camera aspect and doing the angles and make it look like a stylish western. Like
It was badass.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
cool.
real fun. This guy's a gunslinger, so it was just so fun to like shoot him like in certain ways.
Did you learn out from like how to shoot at night? Like, how
Yeah,
to
like
manipulate
on
the-
a side note, I've anytime I've filmed that's not day, it's just hell to try to film at night, and especially like all the campfire scenes and everything like that.
Yes.
Like, how was that
Oh,
for you?
Yeah, that looked like a pretty tight.
Dude, just the fire alone, that was just my lighting. it was tough, like, cause like I was barely even like learning about like doing lighting and anything, and so.
And that was an intense scene because you were showing like basically like a hat getting shot off someone's head.
Yeah,
So
it was a very intense.
You need to make sure you could see that for sure.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
action.
for sure.
It's not
And-
easy to do with a black hat against a black
yeah,
background.
no, it was
Black
really-
background, yeah, exactly.
It was more emo than like a hot topic, honestly. Like,
And oh man, that was just such a. I wouldn't call it like a really bad production, like behind the scenes type thing.
No.
We didn't have lights or like we.
Trying to make it work,
nothing.
like trying to make the.
I was trying to make
the
it work because
moon.
we're supposed to film when it was daylight. Like that was supposed to happen in daylight, so it ended up being like at night. So this guy, Cole has the campfire, and if you notice in the film, when Billy the Kid comes into the frame, the fire keeps going up and down and up. That's because Steven, he was my lighting guy. I kept telling you know what, keep putting some kerosene in that so you can like it's it's building the tension that he's coming closer and the fire's like
Making it
picking up
work.
by the wind or something.
nice.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was just tough, and we had to get in the right moments when the fire would go up, and it worked out. Like the way that I got different angles, and, like it was just a lot of cutting back and forth, and like the way you like reacted quick, shoot him, and then I honestly we didn't know how to. I was like, we're not gonna shoot a real bullet to the guy's head. And
I look at the replay of that and I still can't see the gun coming out. All I see is the flash.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's clever editing,
Yeah.
is what that is.
that was.
But I can remember Adam trying to get that fishing line put into that hat so that it would fly back.
Ah,
Yeah. Well,
okay, that's how you did it.
You couldn't see the fishing line,
Right.
with the
Yeah,
lighting and everything, but getting that hat to land at just the right place and just the right angle so you can see the hole.
Yeah.
exactly.
How many takes did that take you guys? Really?
We were cooking the meals, Austin and I, and Sandra were back at home base cooking the meals and getting the food food ready because it was late. Like we were way behind schedule.
Yeah, we were.
And we just remember hearing like in the distance, like whoever left to be on set, and we were back at home base, kind of getting everything ready for the next scene because we were gonna have lunch in between scenes. Crew was gonna come back, cast and crew was gonna come back, eat, and then get right back out to the lake to shoot the next scene. So we couldn't believe it when we saw the footage. We were like, "Whoa! Like, how'd you guys get this?" Like, because we were back at home base, we didn't see how it was done, you know. And I gotta say, Eric was like, Eric had to handle it because Eric, if you guys don't know, Eric Sanchez, he's associate producer for all of the Tower 20, and he had to be his own producer, man. He had to be the DP. He had to make sure the set was being ran well, handle the crew, handle the cast. So props to him because we weren't there. We were back at home base getting the next thing.
It was pretty wild because we were all like, it felt like we were actually, like, I guess, method acting or method working. Like we were like in the freaking desert, we're freezing, and like, all right, let's warm up.
Trial by fire.
I'm a little hungry. I think one of you guys started actually eating like the beans we had for like the scene.
Oh yeah, that was Adam.
Yeah.
Adam was sitting there going, "Man, them beans really are good." You know?
Let's get into character.
But overall, it was a very fun experience, and then the overall end product. I saw the movie for what it was. There was a lot of good shots, and like it was super aesthetically nice. I thought I was like, that looks like a western, you know.
I think my favorite shot that you got was I was sitting by the fire, but you can't see the fire, but you can see
I know which one you're talking about.
the sunset.
Yeah.
You know, taking
yeah.
place, and everything's just kind of in silhouette, you know. And you've got the reds and the blues,
You like
and
that
it's
one?
like,
I really liked that.
man.
Yeah. It was a I think it was. I think it's a scene where you're by the lake, right? And then you stand up, and then you see in the distance like the blue and the red and the orange. Yeah, I really like that. It was just, I just wish we had more lighting and like.
I don't know. I think I just the way it is. I mean, you know,
that's how it was.
Take
in the
a
Western.
still
It was
of it, you know.
pitch black back then in the day. So, and then we had to. What do we do? We went to back to a different to reshoot another campfire scene where you're talking to what's. Billy the Kid. I think we went to a different side of the town.
I like that you guys incorporated that in there. It was
a kid.
It was like a nice little.
That's all Adam. Like he incorporated Billy the Kid and La Llorona. I was
it
like,
felt very like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Forrest Gumpy, where like the main character sort of starts to meet these people who, you know, obviously one of them is fictional, one of them was like real. But like I just like that.
Life is like a can of beans. You never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
But real quick, John, what was your takeaway from the film and stuff?
I loved it, man. I wish I could have been there the third day when you guys shooting the pool, just so I could be there with you guys. No, for real. Like I wish I could have helped.
Dude, nothing got done that day.
No, still, man. But I remember the first 2 days, even the first try. It was a really interesting take in that, like the universe with the Llorona and then the Kid.
I'm down for a sequel, honestly. This is.
I was about to ask you that. Are you like write a
sequel.
second one or?
Well, this isn't official. We're just talking.
Man,
about
you know, you send me a script, I'll be there. You know,
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. I mean,
we got it right here.
And
a contract.
Hey, yeah.
And was the film like received well and stuff? Like, what did you guys? What was like? Did you guys get anybody messaging you saying like, "Wow"? Congrats,
I did get a bunch of feedback from a bunch of friends that tell me like, Jim's acting. That they said, "Oh, dude, that guy is like legit." Like, he was like, "Dude, that guy was. He would pop. Yeah, you were the star.
You're very heroic.
You were the actor.
It was very heroic and very like I'm old and I'm retired.
Experience.
I'm no sheriff anymore, you know. Like, and then they gave me.
You said it twice, man. I'm just
Nah, not like that, but you know.
No,
It's
you're
a
the
good
cowboy.
thing. You're wise and you're
the
like
cowboy that
you've already seen everything, and you
Dude,
know.
they all fell in love with the look that you were going.
Well, you know, and like I said, that's just the way I dress normally.
Exactly.
I mean,
People have asked me,
It
that's no, he really looks like a cowboy. He is a cowboy. Like he had characters.
I'd like to mention
bullets.
our first meeting with Jim, because I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember how the casting process went. I think we must have put out a casting call. You messaged us on Facebook, maybe.
yeah.
Everybody was nervous.
So,
to meet you.
so that's what it was. But he messaged us, and we kind of pitched him to Adam, and Adam liked him, and we met him in person, and he was already draped in his Western look, right? So we're like, oh, this guy's committed,
No,
you know.
he's draped. No, I was just dressed. I mean, 'cause I
Exactly.
don't show up for meetings naked,
But
you
he
know.
Well, you probably should have, Jim. It would have gotten you the role a lot more sooner than.
No.
but he really had his like Western look already kind of ready to go. And then you see him, and he comes in with his iPad. So he's got this Western guy with and then he comes in with an iPad. He's like, so I got the script, guys, and I got the schedule, and I got all this stuff, and we're like, yeah.
That's awesome.
It was just kind of peculiar to see.
Well, you thought he was gonna like roll something?
Yeah, he was gonna roll scroll, and all right, guys. So I transcribed it. No, but
And of course he's carrying his Magnum on the
to
side.
us, like our brain went to because though you do dress like that regularly, you kind of came to us and was like, hey, I kind of got this. This is what I got. This is what I dress in. Do you guys want to use any of this clothes? You guys want? And we were like, yeah, that looks perfect. Like the boots look perfect. The belt looks perfect. So he kind of came prepared before we even had to communicate all that.
Yeah.
So
That's
it was
professionalism.
Just,
right there.
he was excited, like more than anything. He was excited about doing an original Western, which is something we haven't seen in El Paso very much.
And this was the first script that I had seen where we had a Western with kind of that supernatural influence.
That little
I
universe.
really like it.
Well, that's what caught my attention when I was reading it. Because all I got was hey, we're shooting a Western.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, and then I did a little bit of investigating after I read the script. I was like, well, La Llorona. Okay, well, and now they've got a film out on, I think it's Netflix.
Yeah.
I prefer this one.
Yeah, that's a new take on it.
Well, I do too, but I haven't, and I haven't seen the other one yet. So I shouldn't be saying anything, but I definitely have an affinity for this film.
Yeah.
Adam was fun to work with, and like I said, because of the experience that I have, it's kind of fun to work with the actors that don't have as much and watch them as they, go through their process.
Yes.
There are certain scenes in there that I still get tickled at. But everybody did everything that they could to produce, as quality a product as could be made with what we have available.
Exactly.
And, I did want to mention something about the industry. There's going to be, and I suspect with the fires in California, there's going to be a lot more of the industry, moving this direction, because LA is under all kinds of smoke and flames and that kind of thing. It's a sad thing, but Albuquerque and Santa Fe, kind of have a monopoly, more or less, and Las Cruces is doing its best to work itself into that
Yeah, you were
market.
telling us about that.
And I really want to see that happen because we've got every bit of the locations that Albuquerque and Santa Fe have. There's a lot of local talent on both sides of the camera. That could benefit from the work. One of the and this is just a personal heartburn note for me. They want to cast everything out of Atlanta, and I've got an agent in Atlanta, but I live in New Mexico, so it doesn't really do me a hell of a lot of good. Or Austin or Los Angeles, and it seems like anything over 5 lines, things that would get actors, SAG eligible and SAG qualified, are. We're just not going to turn loose of that, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got a wealth of talent. I've got several actors, that I really like being in films with around here. Student films notwithstanding. And I've got some right here in El Paso. Jack Lutz, Hector Dez. Guys I like to work with.
Right.
And then, of course, I've got, my crew over in Las Cruces, Mark Vasconcelos, who teaches acting classes here in El Paso, by the way. Shout out to Mark, and he's got some professional experience that would be of benefit to a lot of the up-and-coming actors around here.
I guess that was going to be where I was going to ask, what advice do you have for any inspiring actors who might look at you and obviously feel that experience and I mean, you seem so calm and collective about it, but obviously you have your own process and your own
That's a good question.
things. So,
well, as far as my process goes, most of the time, the characters, I try and get inside the author's head. What is it that he's trying to convey? You'll get people who will analyze things to death. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I far be it for me to impugn anybody else's processes. You know, I mean, they all got their things that they do that, you know, that work for them. I had one professor told me, you know, well, you need to think about what this dude's carrying in his pockets.
Yeah.
You know,
Five
it's like,
things sometimes.
well, you know, and that's, you know, that's a wonderful thing, provided the character's going to go into his pockets. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what's his birth sign? Well, you know, if you don't believe in astrology, why is that irrelevant? You know, but for some people, you know, that's part of what they what they do.
For sure.
Process.
But I think,
funny.
you know, to me, the real process comes in the interplay between the characters. You know, somebody tried to break it down for me one time and said, you know, what do you want? What does your character want?
Mm-hmm.
What does your character want?
Mhm.
What does my character want? You know, and those are the types of things that, you know, it comes back down to push and pull, you know, because, you know, any kind of interplay between even human beings is all going to come down, you know. I just wanted to say hi, but I wanted something. I wanted to say hi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the interplay between the characters, you know, and there are blank spots that you can fill in, you know. It's like, why is this guy being an asshole? Because he had a shitty day before he got here, you know. Okay, well, you know, this is a valid point.
Yeah.
You know, but to me, I like to have table reads, you know, with, you know, the director, you know, how does he want it? You know, with my fellow actors, you know, how are they reading, you know, how are they interpreting their own roles?
Right.
How are they interpreting my role?
Right.
You know, and if you can sit down and, you know, sometimes it doesn't take more than 15 or 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you can just walk onto the set, hang out for 5 and say, all right, let's go do this.
Yeah.
You know, it comes down to a matter of preparedness. You know, do you know your lines?
Yeah.
You know, I try very hard to, you know, memorize the lines as they're written. I meet with varying degrees of success, but and I'm not going to mention any names, but I was on a movie set and I saw a well-known actor.
Okay.
And this well-known actor, you know, and you've seen them in plenty of films, and they always come off sterling performances. But I watched this guy shoot the same scene 5 times in a row, and not once did he deliver the line the same way.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, at one point he went off on a completely different tangent. You know, it's like,
Did the director like that?
never said a word. He just got to the end of the scene, yelled cut, and that was that.
That's
you know?
cool.
And so, you know, I wonder about things like that.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I mean, and most of the directors that I've worked with and the screenplay writers that, you know, come to the sets, you know, they will afford you a little bit of latitude, you know, because while you're doing that, you know, and you may not hit the line exact, you may hit something that the author didn't see the first time. You know, so I mean,
Work to the strengths.
yeah, and it's all a blast. You
For
know,
sure.
I love hanging out. I like doing accents; those are fun.
Oh, because you used to work at a radio station too, right? So
Oh
you're a
yeah,
jockey too.
I did work at a radio station.
Nice.
We gotta get you in another one of these podcasts.
Yeah, well, you know, I was like, hey,
You're welcome
Sure.
whenever.
Yeah, you're definitely welcome here all the time, Jim. I'd like to mention, because Juan, when we kind of started this podcast and we kind of started the idea of the podcast, the idea was to, just like the slogan, right, for the towering filmmaker, for anybody who wants to become a filmmaker, anybody who wants to become an actor, that's what the question, why the question is relevant. And I want to mention, like, just a few quick little things that we went through as producers and stuff. We had a lot of feedback on, like, the sets look like a studio lot.
Yeah,
like, the
yeah,
sets
yeah.
look real, you know, like the old Western town, like the desert was easy, right? Because we have desert all over the place. But like, just going around here, and we shot mostly, like, the Western stuff, Western town and the bar scenes and stuff like that on the 2 locations, 2 buildings from the same owner in Socorro. And it was just a matter of going up to them and saying, hey, you know, the buildings are for sale or for lease or something. We called them and say, hey, while you're getting that going, can we shoot a film there? And they said yes. And they opened it up to us and
Nice.
gave us full control, literally handed the keys to us and said, Just don't make a mess. Leave
Wow.
it clean. Give us,
Wow.
So just
Except for the horses.
except for the horses, yeah. It was hey, we probably made grass grow at that place with them horses. That's probably what it was. So no, but in all reality, the owner Jonathan Signs, I believe was his last name. He was totally cool with us on lending us those places, those sets. Because we were about to go rent a studio out in Las Cruces that we had heard about, and then that fell through. I think they were shooting something at the time, but we had to just go around and see what looks aesthetic to this time period, what looks aesthetic to this scene specifically. So just to those filmmakers who are like, no man, we need money, no, we need a big crew, no, you don't. You need dedication, you need the right crew, you need the right cast, and you need to go knock on doors, man. You can't be lazy about stuff like this. And I just want to mention that, piggyback off what Jim's saying, as there's a process to the actor, and advice to any actors, advice to any filmmakers too, is like, if Adam, the director, he'd tell you, you have to work with what you got, but you're not going to know what you got unless you go out and look for it,
True.
And just asking for, if you're making a Western, go ask around, go ask to a couple of ranches and tell some guys, hey, we're going to film a movie. I like your horses. Can we get a couple of them for the film? Can we get a couple of them, do
I
that.
like your horses.
Yeah.
You sick guy, you.
And you can, just get to the point where you say, hey man, I'll buy.
Oh Lord, clean them up.
Just get to the point where you're like, I'll buy a hay bale for the horses or whatever. Like, don't be cheap either. Try to figure out what your resources are, but just go around, ask for locations, ask for resources that you can use. I mean, the prop guns we found online, for a certain amount of money, which was very inexpensive. I mean, the costuming, we went back and forth to literally thrift stores. We went to like Savers and to Ross and to Goodwill and found props and things for the costuming there. So it's very, very doable, guys. Like, it's very doable. And I know that we link all of our kind of info here on this podcast in post. So if you guys have any questions, anybody has any questions to at you, we'll link Jim's as well. Any questions on acting, any questions on filmmaking, and hey, how did you acquire this set? How did you go about this? We want to help you guys out, man. We want to help out anybody.
Absolutely.
So just FYI, I'm gonna take that Rodriguez approach. Like, you can do it with whatever you got, because you really can, and we're a testament to that because of this film. So.
Really quickly before we enter the trivia portion of the podcast,
Ooh,
I would just like
trivia.
Are you
Trivia?
ready?
This is gonna be some trivia on Western, so
Oh,
Oh,
Jim.
There's some easy
okay.
ones, there've been good
Jim.
ones,
Jim's gonna be the one.
10 for
Jim?
10.
All right,
Let's go,
maybe
let's
they're gonna be easy for you. I feel like they'll be really easy for you. But real quick, I do want to do a little quote from the film. I think this is like the line that just stuck with me. I thought it was funny. It's the one that made me chuckle. So that's what I like about you Mexicans. You always have God with you. Like, I thought that was really like. I just really like. I really
That was
like
all
that
Adam,
one.
man. Like,
Yeah, I really like that line. It was fun. But all right, so you guys,
you
are you-
Mexicans.
You always
Nice
got
folks.
Jesus with
yeah,
you.
Jesus
yep.
is always around. A little
Mhm.
bond. I liked it. But real quick, all right. So these are my questions. I'm gonna just say them as I go. So here we go.
First one.
Who starred in the critically acclaimed Western classic The Searchers? I'll let you guys answer this first.
Dude, I'll
I
use a
feel like-
lifeline. Jim, I
Lifeline
need you.
already?
The Searchers, John Wayne.
John Wayne. The one and only John Wayne. All right, John Wayne. That
For you, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I did get that like John Wayne vibe from you from the movie, especially because in that movie, in The Searchers, John Wayne like is the one just in control of everything. I guess.
You know what? Okay, and I got to say, yeah, I tried to, I say I tried. I drew a lot of influence from films like El Dorado.
El Dorado's a good one too.
Oh man,
Yeah.
El Dorado was the one, and what was the other one? Rio Bravo.
I didn't get to see Rio Bravo. I saw Stagecoach, but
Okay, but there's one line at the very, very opening of the film. I'm hungover, I'm getting up, and I'm looking for my horse. And I watch that scene,
Dude, where's
and
my horse?
I see James Garner and myself. If you look, support your local gunfighter, support your local sheriff. Both of those films, it's like I can see Jim Rockford, doing the, where the hell's my damn horse? And it was completely unintentional, but when I saw it, it reminded me of, that scene. I think it's Support Your Local Gunfighter, where he's talking with Jack Elam, and he's getting kind of perturbed, and his eyes just radiate like, God damn,
Yeah.
So, hey man, there's nothing wrong with comedic westerns either.
No. Yeah,
Oh no,
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles, man. I love that.
All right, hit me with your next question. What do
No
you got?
problem, no problem. Okay,
Question
so
number
speaking,
two.
continuing with the John Waynes of the films, a lineup. What classic western starring John Wayne received a remake starring Jeff Bridges and Haley Steinfeld? And if anybody from the back crew would
Except
like
for
to
Carlos,
buzz in.
except for
Fill
Carlos.
your hand, you son of a bitch.
I'll wait if anybody else knows.
Anybody who knows they have the wrong answer if they would like to answer it.
Wait, knows they have the wrong answer? What?
Yes.
Yeah, it's True Grit, isn't it?
Yep.
It's True Grit.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. True Grit.
Brothers.
True Grit. Yeah, True Grit. All right. Now here's the third one. This is my final question. It was really hard to find Western questions because I'm still barely.
Oh, you got to make it tough for Jim, right?
I'm scratching the surface of this genre. But what is the name of the director who helmed all three of Clint Eastwood's Dollars trilogy?
Ennio Morricone did the music.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they
Sergio
did mention
Leone?
him. They.
Yeah,
Ooh,
right.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes. Wow. That was.
Yeah, I was
nice.
like,
that
it's
was nice. That was nice. That was nice. In the old West, yeah, they did mention him a lot, right, in that film. Yeah, they I guess he worked with Leonardo DiCaprio's character at some point.
It's funny.
That's where they got the name. So Sergio Leone did Once Upon a Time in the West, Once
Oh.
Upon a Time in America, and that's where Tarantino got his whole Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
In Hollywood.
Rodriguez got Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Mexico.
It's all inspired by Sergio Leone.
Nice.
Very good director.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
It's
yeah.
impressive that you guys know about it because y'all are so damn young. You know?
I love westerns, man. I love.
Well,
westerns.
you
I
haven't.
barely started getting to more westerns this year. I saw The Wild Bunch. Ooh, I think it's
Okay.
Go to a
It's one of my-
gas
it's
station.
one of my
look at
favorite
it.
All
ones.
right, all right. Some of the classics that you're gonna have to hit, you gotta watch. And again, I'm not a real big fan of remakes.
Okay.
You know,
You don't
same.
have to keep it
Oh,
original.
like I said, I got great respect for Jeff Bridges, but he ain't John Wayne.
No,
Right, yeah.
You know.
You appreciate True Grit, though, Jim. I don't know if you got to see it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
You know,
It was a good
and
Western, I think.
the one thing that I did like about it was the fact that it came a little closer to the book than the original. But by the same token, it's John Wayne. I mean, Planet of the
What's your list?
Planet of the Apes, like Charlton
Yes.
Heston.
Right.
I love
No,
Planet
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Apes, man.
How do
Love
you,
those.
You can't give that to the little green goblin. Yeah, you're right.
There-
James Franco,
Yeah,
I feel you.
there are certain films that you just shouldn't touch.
Yeah, yeah.
Once they're indelibly in there, they're in there.
Yeah.
But you go back to Randolph Scott. The black and white westerns. Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Even television series. And it's
The Rifleman.
oh yeah,
With Chuck
yeah.
Connors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did you fire that gun?
Oh, that's a trivia question for me. I want to say. Oh, I mean, I'm not a gun person. I feel like if I was a gun person, I'd know it. But maybe six.
Nope.
The 6 bullets.
Six bullets, I guess.
For the rifle?
Nope. Yep, for the rifle.
4.
Now I'm gonna be an asshole and tell you I don't know either.
You got us right there. I don't even know. That's why I'm asking.
No, if I remember right, I think it was 14.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
my
a
God.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and it was rapid fire. They didn't have special effects like we got today.
Oh, really?
But things like Bonanza.
Bonanza's a good one.
And of course Marshall Dillon, Gunsmoke. And you guys, like I said, I watched these things growing up, and they were reruns when I got them. So you got to go back, and there are so many black and white westerns. I like to see, like the John Ford, Howard Hawks, all these Grand Vista films. Like I said, Rio Bravo. Yeah, I mean, she wore a yellow ribbon.
And the thing about westerns is that they've never
Fort
they
Apache.
always creep into every genre. Like it's always been inspired by, like, Star Wars was inspired by like John Wayne films for sure. Like there's literally a scene where like Luke goes back to his uncles and aunts, and it's just right out of the Searchers, where like they realize, oh man, like the Native Americans, they kind of like set us up. We go back and the house is all burnt up, kind of similar to like Luke, where him and Obi-Wan are like, wait a minute, if the Tusken Raiders were here, then that means they're over there. Oh my gosh! And then boom, dead family.
I still get tickled by it. You know, I love the original Star Wars. I saw it in the theater probably 100+ times. But you know, I found it interesting. You ever watch those stormtroopers come blasting through that door?
Oh, I know, very klutzy.
And they can't hit shit. You know, you know, and then
it was the Force, man.
And then Obi-Wan comes up. Well, these blast points are too random. What? You know, too accurate? No. You know, I was like, those guys couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Well, I put on one of those stormtrooper helmets. You really can't see out of them. You know, no wonder they can't fit anything. I have an admission to make. I have Darth Vader's helmet sitting in my office.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm wearing Star Wars underwear, so you know I always keep it close to me.
You know that's probably something I wouldn't tell you.
I know.
All right, you guys, I really hate to do this to y'all, but I gotta pull a Julius Caesar and stab you guys in the back and cut this conversation
Hey,
short.
it has been so
Jim,
much
we gotta
fun
have
to
you
be
back.
with you guys again. I want to say thanks, you know, both for the opportunity to make the film in the first place, but to be able to come back and see y'all again and hang out and just
You haven't
like,
changed, man.
Well, you know,
You still look like a sheriff.
you know, I wore that belt buckle on the set, you know, and they took it away from me. You know, so somebody else had the same belt buckle.
Aw, what are the odds?
The Texas Ranger.
This set ain't big enough for 2 belts.
Oh well, you know.
No, but thank you guys. Anyways, that's it for me, man. I mean, I don't know if you want to close it off with something.
I just
or-
appreciate Jim. Jim, you're awesome. Great to see you again.
Well,
And a big thank you to the men behind the cameras tonight.
Yeah,
Carlos
Carlos,
Torre,
Austin,
hello.
Michael De La Ho's in charge.
Yeah,
of
of
the
course,
whole
of
thing.
course. Austin Young, who I wish was hosting with me, man. I felt really lonely today without you, but you know that's it for us today, man. I'm Juan Paul Flores. You can find me at Juan Paul Films on Instagram. I don't know if you guys want to plug in something real quick for the audience.
You know, Fall Tower Productions.
We
Follow
do have
Jim.
follow Jim. I don't know if you have any social media. I'll have to pick it up for you for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't have social media.
Yeah, we don't want to put out anything personal for me.
yeah,
Don't
well,
get
you know,
That's-
if you can find me and you write, I will probably respond.
Yeah.
You know, as far as having, you know, like a web page or anything like that, no, I haven't gone that route yet.
We'll find you through the smoke signal.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, if you really guys, you know, need to ask me something, contact these guys because they know how to find me.
Yeah,
and,
Awesome.
Sure.
you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, you guys, anybody watching this
don't-
who's a filmmaker, I mean,
Don't harass the guy, right?
Yeah, harass them. They'll harass me.
exactly.
well, that's it for us, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for TowerCast. This is episode 2. Right before I leave, be sure to check out our newest short film, Mary, the 60-second short film directed by Michael D. Head. That's it for today. Thank you so much,
And stay tuned.
and stay tuned for the next episode. Goodbye.